Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Gittin. We are up to Perek Daled Mishnah Bet. Today's Mishnayot should be Le'elu Nishmat, Neria ben Svetlana, Ranbai, Eliyahu ben Burcha Israel, of Chana ben Miriam, Sason ben Raya, and Yoshua ben Shifra, Menuchatam began Eden, Amen, and Le'avde ben Chaim Lechaim, and the Refuah shel Emav, Daniel Shalom ben Rosa, Betor Shach Chulei Israel. The previous Mishnah taught that the husband can void a get before it is given in the presence of his agent or his wife. This Mishnah discusses whether he can do so where the agent or the wife is not present. Barishona, in earlier times, the husband would set up a court of 3 men in some other place, wherever he is, even if the agent or the wife was not present, and void the get there before the court. Now, this court had to consist of at least 3 men so that the word will spread quickly that the husband voided the get, letting the wife know not to use it to marry another man. And this way, the wife would be prevented from unknowingly committing adultery under the assumption that the divorce took effect. Now, because the purpose of this court is simply to witness the husband voiding the get and to spread the word that he did so, it does not need to consist of judges. Any 3 adult Jewish men are acceptable. This was problematic, however, because the agent might not find out that the get had been voided and he would still deliver it. Then if the wife is also unaware that the get is voided, she would think that she is divorced. If she were to remarry, she would be unknowingly committing adultery, with the result that her children from the second husband would be mamzerim. A mamzer, or plural mamzerim, is a child born from a forbidden relationship such as adultery that is punishable by karet, or from a parent who is a mamzer. The Torah prohibits cohabitation between a mamzer, male or female, and a regular Jew, as it says in Dvarim, chapter 23, verse 3. Hitkin Rabban Gamliel Azaken Shelo Yu Osin Ken Rabban Gamliel, the elder, therefore decreed that the husbands may not do such a thing, meaning a husband may not void a get if the agent or the wife are not present. Rather, he may do so only in their presence. Mipnei Tikkun Haolam, this decree was made for the benefit of society, meaning to prevent the wife from wrongly remarrying and thereby giving birth to mamzerim. Although news of the get's cancellation would spread quickly if the get were voided before a court of 3, there was still a slight chance that the wife would not hear about it. Rabban Gamliel the elder therefore decreed that a husband must void the get in the presence of his agent or his wife. Since they would therefore be directly informed that the get was void, there is no need for a court at all, as the Ramban explains in the Gemara on page 32b in Masechet Gittin. The Mishnah cites another decree regarding Gittin that Rabban Gamliel the elder enacted for the benefit of society. Barishona, in earlier times, if a man or his wife had 2 names, one that he or she was called in the place where the get was being written, and one that he or she was called in another place, Hayam Mishaneh Shmo Shma, the husband would change his name and his wife's name in the get, meaning he would use the names by which they were known in the place where the get was being written and omit any other names. Shem Miro v'Shem Ira. Likewise, if the towns where they lived had 2 names, he would change the name of his town and the name of her town, meaning he would write the names of the towns that they were called in the place where the get was being written and omit those towns' other names, and the get would still be valid. A get must state not only the names of the husband and wife, but also the places where they currently live. For example, Yosef of Jerusalem or Rachel of Hebron. If the town was known by different names in different places, for example, the residents of some places called the wife's city Hebron and others called it Kiryat Arba, it used to be enough to write the name by which the town was known and the place the get was written. However, this was problematic because people who knew them or their towns only by their other names would assume that the couple had not been divorced, since unfamiliar names were used in the get. They would therefore say that she was forbidden to remarry with this get, and that any children she has from the second husband are mamzerim. V'itkin Rabban Gamliel Azaken she'kotev, Rabban Gamliel the elder therefore decreed that a man must write the names in a get as follows: Ish ploni v'chol shem sheyesh lo, this man so and so in every name that he has. Isha plonit v'chol shum sheyesh la, and this woman so and so in every name that she has. Now, and similarly regarding the names of their towns, the Mishnah means that the husband must write both or all the names by which he and his wife are known. For example, Yosef, who is also called Yossi. And this is how the Rambam writes in Echot Gerushin, chapter 4, Lechat 12, that this is similar regarding the name of the towns. Mipnei Tikkun Olam, this decree too was made for the benefit of society, so that people would not slander the get after the woman had remarried and had children, and thereby spread rumors that her children were mamzerim. That is end of Mishnah Bet. Mishnah Gimel lists additional decrees that Rabban Gamliel the elder enacted for the benefit of society. The discussion of various decrees made for the benefit of society continues until the end of chapter 5, although most of them are unrelated to the laws of Gittin. The Mishnah begins, En almana nifrad min nichsei yitomim ela bishvua. Originally, the law was that a widow could not collect her ketubah payment from the property of the orphans, the property that her husband's children had inherited from him, unless she swore an oath, a shvua, that she had not yet been paid. Now, the ketubah is the amount a husband must pay his wife if their marriage ends in debt in divorce or his death, as it speaks about in Ketubot, chapter 1, Mishnah 2, and chapter 5, Mishnah 1. In the event of his death, the payment is collected from his estate, which according to Torah law is inherited not by his widow, but by his sons. She must swear that her husband had not given her all or part of the Ketubah, and in fact, this is true for anyone who is owed money. He may not collect from the property inherited by the debtor's orphans unless he first swears that he has not yet been paid even part of it. The reason is that when a lender comes to collect his money during the borrower's lifetime, the borrower can claim that he already paid the debt, in which case the lender would have to swear that he has not been paid. Now the orphans left by a borrower are unable to make this claim because they do not know whether their father paid anything, so to protect the orphan's interest, the court makes the claim on their behalf, which means that the debtor must swear before he can collect. Nimneu milashbia. Over time, however, the courts became concerned that a widow might swear falsely in such a case. The courts were concerned that a widow who had been paid part of her ketubah might still swear that she had not received anything. She could rationalize that since she had taken care of the orphans, the partial payment that she received may be viewed as reimbursement for her efforts. In truth, however, since no one told her that the payment was for taking care of the children, she must assume that it was for the ketubah. She therefore would be swearing falsely, a very serious sin. As a result, widows were unable to collect their ketubah payments from their husbands' estates. Hitkin Rabban Gamliel Zaken shetieh noderet layitom kol ma shirtzu. Rabban Gamliel the elder therefore decreed that instead of swearing, making a shvuah, the widow may vow, make a neder to the orphans, whatever they want. Meaning she may vow to the orphans that if she had already received any payment, any item of their choosing is prohibited to her. Now a neder creates a prohibition on an object. For example, this fruit is forbidden to me, as the Gemara says in Nedarim, page 2b. In our case, the widow would prohibit an object on condition that she had been paid. So this fruit is forbidden to me if I have received any payment. The orphans could choose the item that she prohibits in her neder. Now, before Rabban Gamliel, the elder's enactment, a widow could not collect her ketubah from orphans without taking a shvuah. The courts, however, refused to go through the process of making her take a shvuah because they were afraid that it might be a false shvuah, which is a serious transgression. Rabban Gamliel the elder decreed that a shvuah is not needed, rather it is enough for her to make a neder. The courts would not refrain from making her take a neder because even if she breaks her neder, that is not as serious a transgression as making a false shvuah. The govak ktubata, and after making the vow, she can collect her ktubah from the orphans. Another enactment for the good of society made by Rabban Gamliel the elder, Hayedim chutmin ala get. He also decreed that witnesses should sign on the get, even though the get is valid with other signatures, since the accepted view is that it is the witnesses who see the get being given, and not those that sign on the get who make the divorce effective. Both of these decrees, namely that a widow makes a neder to the orphans and that witnesses sign on a get, were made for the benefit of society. The benefit of allowing widows to collect their ketubah from the orphans after making a neder is that women will be more willing to get married, knowing that they can collect their ketubah payment if their husband dies. The benefit of witnesses signing a get is that if one of the witnesses who saw the get being given dies or travels overseas and can no longer testify about the divorce can still be confirmed through verifying the signatures. If one of the witnesses who saw the giving of the get, edem misira, becomes unavailable and cannot testify that the divorce took place, the woman would have no proof of her divorce and would be unable to remarry. Rabban Gamliel the elder therefore decreed that the get should also be signed by witnesses edei chatima. In addition to having witnesses see the get being given, the divorce can then be confirmed by people who recognize the signatures on the get. Even after the decree, however, a get is valid even if it is not signed, because the two witnesses who saw the giving of the get can confirm that she is divorced, according to Rabbi Elazar, who holds that it is these witnesses who make the divorce take effect. Having witnesses sign the get is only a precaution in the event that one of the witnesses to the giving of the get becomes unavailable. Another enactment for the benefit of society, Hillel itkin prusbul mibnei tikkun haolam. Hillel instituted a document called prusbul, by which lenders retain the right to collect their loans even after the Shemitah year, although the Shemitah year normally cancels all loans. Mibnei tikkun haolam. This too was enacted for the benefit of society, so that wealthy people would continue to lend money to the poor, since they would not be concerned that they would be unable to collect their debts after the Shemitah year. Every 7th year is known as the Shemitah, the sabbatical year. the Torah states that all loans that have already become due are canceled at the end of the Shemitah year, and the lenders can no longer collect their money. It says in Dvarim chapter 15 verses 1 through 3. Hillel saw that because of this law, people were not lending money to the needy close to the Shemitah year. Such behavior is explicitly forbidden by the Torah in Sefer Dvarim chapter 15 verse 9. Hillel therefore established a provable contract in which a lender declares before judges that he transfers his loan to them. He thereby retains the right to collect the loans in the name of the court even after the Shemitah year, and it is derived from the Torah that loans held by the court are not cancelled by the Shemitah year. Now the word pruzbul is a contraction of the words pros, bule, ubute, which means an enactment for the rich and for the poor. It helps the wealthy because it prevents them from sinning by withholding loans from the needy, and it also helps the poor because it enables them to find people willing to lend them money even close to the Shemitah year. And that is the Rabotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen v'amen.